Good morning, beautiful people. Today, you and I are going to talk about how to bring the Gilmore Girls aesthetic to springtime. Grab your coffee, let's get started. As we know, the Gilmore Girls aesthetic is known for being cozy, inviting, and eclectic, but I really feel like we don't see too much of spring in the show. So in today's video, we are going to discuss if Gilmore Girls had a very aesthetic spring, what would that look like? Now, to be fair to Gilmore Girls, they do have the spring break episode, which is obviously focused around spring, but I didn't really get the vibes of the show that I really wanted in that. We have a few summer days in there, but really spring feels overlooked. So we're going to correct that today. Gilmore Girls being all about the vibes and the aesthetic. In order to bring a new aesthetic in, we need to clean that old aesthetic out. So get rid of those winter items. And there's always that one sneaky item that ends up staying that snuck past the radar. So double check on any of the blankets, double check on pillowcases, double check on like wreaths hanging around and clean those out, put those away, and then we're bringing that new aesthetic in. Now that we have that clean slate, we can bring in things like floral arrangements. That's something that I talked about when I talked about how to bring the Gilmore Girls aesthetic to your home overall. But for springtime, flowers are very important. And if you can, focus on flowers that bloom in this season, like tulips, daffodils, cherry blossoms, hyacinths, and crocus. That way, not only are you bringing flowers and florals into your home, but you're bringing the season inside as well. And if you don't want to bring real flowers in, it is totally okay to do fake flowers or a fake garland. Speaking of garland, spring wreaths. A spring wreath on your front door really does welcome you each time you come back to your home, and it is just that inviting, cozy moment that welcomes spring and you. Now it's time to bring the inside out. Feels like Christmas where we're bringing a Christmas tree in and putting lights outside, but we're doing it spring style. And by that, I mean add some outdoor string lights. If Stars Hollow is known for anything, it is definitely those fairy lights, and adding that just brings that warm glow to the town, as well as to your balcony, to your outdoor area, to your garden, or to that balcony porch. An extra little tip is you can put it on a timer, so each time the light goes down throughout the day, your lights come on, and is just something that is just so magical. It's very small. It's a small item to add, but it really does just bring that magical moment. You too can have color coming out of your yin yang if you add a flower garden. I really hope that you get that is a bad quote, because if not, that is very awkward. Moving on. In winter, although it is very cozy, it can feel a little bit, almost claustrophobic of having to be inside a lot of the time. I know moving to a climate that has snow, I am ready to be outside and see grass, see flowers, see the sun. So adding that flower garden is something that I have enjoyed doing every single year. Another way to do that flower garden is also to add in some herbs if you're like a new gardener. Also, know that everybody starts with like a black thumb and then you figure it out and you become a green thumb. And you're learning to be a gardener. You're not just going for that end product. So if you have a year where it doesn't really work out that well, that's okay. You're learning, you're growing, ironically, just like your garden. Bake with seasonal ingredients. I know for me in the wintertime, I really want like stews and really warm, more hearty items. But when spring comes, my appetite starts to change and I'm wanting more fresh produce and fresh feelings. 5 ways to bring that into your baking is by adding these ingredients: rhubarb, strawberries, fresh mint. You could do edible flowers if you want, and lemon. Those are 5 ingredients that I love to add into the baking that I do in the springtime that just brings that fresh feeling. And after you've baked those yummy goods, add in some popcorn and have an outdoor movie night. Now, this can be something that you do as a one-off or something that you do on the weekly basis where each Friday you do a Friday movie night outside with your projector. But that just sounds so magical to me. And it gives me very like mixing black, white, and red, whatever it's called, movie theater and Stars Hollow with like if they had that outside. I don't know why, but I feel like I really always wanted in the show more spring and summer options of things to do. So we're filling in the gaps here. A very simple way to add spring into the everyday is something that I did, which I was talking about in my previous video of reacting to Clueless. But adding some version of spring in little ways like this really just does bring like the whimsy that I feel like from Stars Hollow. It's just, if you can't see the little glass straw, the little flower on it, and I love it. I've been using it. It's very fun. And then if you bring that in with like your iced coffee, that feels very Stars Hollow, but very like springtime Stars Hollow, which we love. On our coffee theme, one thing to also add is fun little coasters. I just find that if I switch this out for each season, I enjoy sitting at my desk a little bit more because I'm excited to see. I bought this actually last year and I was so ready to put it out. It just made me feel like it was a change of season. Adding in Kim's Antiques. Antique shopping is a wonderful thing to do in spring when you're switching out that decor. And if you want just something to kind of mix it up, Antique shopping and looking for specific items is a great way to do that. You can find fun extra wooden shelves, chairs, baskets, something that you can bring outside. You can find pots or pottery that just kind of brings your garden back to life. I know after winter for me, the garden always looks like a little bit rough. So bringing things that make me want to sit out there, even like finding something like a chair, adding a chair to your garden makes you want to sit and be in your garden. And then you can also have fun spring garden parties. Now, it doesn't have to be a big, elaborate, full-on Stars Hollow garden party, but if you had like one or two friends over and you just kind of sat in your garden, whether or not it's like fully blooming or not, just get some plants around you, get some pots around you, use one of those edible flowers that we talked about earlier in the baking era of things, do some sourdough bread, you can paint on it. That can be one of the activities that you do. That would just be a very wonderful way to welcome in the new season. 2 ways to get out of the home and do things for spring is volunteer work and going on road trips. Now we know the Gilmore Girls do a couple road trips throughout, and it's kind of like as a response to honestly kind of running away for Lorelai when it comes to the Harvard road trip that she goes on with Rory. But imagine we're doing that intentionally with just the vibes of wanting to get out. We could go biking like she does in that one episode too. Things that get you out of the house. Bring your Claritin or whatever you use if you've got allergies like me, but getting out of the house, doing volunteer work in the community. They're very involved in the community. So adding that into your spring bucket list. Leave a comment of something that you do each spring or a tradition that you have to welcome in the spring and kind of say farewell to the winter as we get into the warmer days. I will see you in the next video. Bye.